A career in fight promotion has always been extremely attractive to some of the biggest scumbags in the world, because what better way to make money than to watch a bunch of poor people fight each other, only to give them a fraction of the money you made, also you can go back to your mansion in Dubai and jump into a pool full of gold like Scrooge McDuck. Now, most jiu-jitsu tournaments will take this even a step further and say, we're going to charge people money to watch you fight. You're actually going to be our show, but get this, you're still going to pay us. And if you win the division, we're not going to give you anything back except for a fake gold medal.
What the
I think to talk about Craig Jones and Jassim, we first have to talk about Seth Daniels and Fight to Win. Now, you may have seen this high school bullshit sent to Craig Jones one morning.
I don't know what's going on here, but we woke up bright and early this morning to this lovely message from Seth Daniels, ADCC organizer. You might know him best for his fireworks displays or his brilliant ability to play the bongo. But he's saying, I'm not saying this lightly. I'm telling you, I will end your fucking life. Guys, you might be a bit upset. That seems a bit passive aggressive for 4:37 in the morning.
And thought, wow, what kind of grown adult would unironically type those words and hit send? Well, let me introduce you to owner and CEO of Fight to Win, a self-made man that makes women instantly faint.
Oh shit, she went out.
Seth Daniels.
The reason the elbows also work really well here is because now I'm in a perfect position to pimp smack the shit out of him. Just like right there.
And you just want to spike their fucking head on the ground and have them go unconscious and steal their girlfriend.
No, I just wanted to make as much money as possible and fuck everyone over and then, not pay everyone.
Now, if you're strong, you should be able to finish this with a guillotine, okay? If you're not strong, you should probably quit watching fucking YouTube videos and go to the gym or take some steroids.
I know, truly exciting, right? I want to get into all this stuff, but first some quick housekeeping. If you guys are enjoying the video, consider giving it a like, subscribing, sharing, all that stuff helps a lot. And the more eyes we can get on this, the more I can do with the channel. So thank you in advance for that. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. I have another video I made on Fight to Win that I'll put on screen for you guys. It's just critiquing the rule set. I personally think the rule set is a very easy one to strategically game. I mean, Exhibit A, I have a Fight to Win belt sitting behind me right here. But past that, there's a few shady aspects to the way they handle their business that I think are done in an intentional way, and I think they're done intentionally to pay the athletes less and for them to pocket more. The way Fight to Win goes about paying their athletes is they give you a small amount of money for a win. I think when I won the title here, it was like 200 extra bucks for a win. And the rest of your money comes from a portion of your ticket sales. So you can make a decent amount of money as long as you put in the work selling tickets, which in a vacuum doesn't sound too bad. Where I start to see a problem is you don't get any of your ticket sales revenue from anyone who buys a ticket after the weigh-ins or at the door of the event. Okay, bear with me because this is where I think the intentional part comes in. So like I said before, I've had myself plenty of Fight to Win matches and I've coached plenty of students through Fight to Win matches. And I'd say about 90% of the time, the athletes get their matches 1 or 2 days before the event. How are you supposed to sell a reasonable amount of tickets in a single day? And if that ticket sales revenue is already allocated to go to the athletes, what happens when the athlete doesn't sell the tickets before weigh-ins? Where does that money go? It goes right into Scrooge McDuck's vault. There's a phrase I like to go by called Hanlon's razor, and it goes, never attribute malice to that which can adequately be explained by stupidity. Napoleon had another variation of this quote. And look, I would love to believe that this is just incompetent matchmaking, but when it happens every single event, it becomes harder and harder to believe that this isn't intentional. But hey, maybe this is just my bad anecdote and I'm unlucky, so if you have any experience competing for them, I'd love to hear from you guys too. What's even more annoying about this is watching Seth blow up on people for doing the exact same thing. If you've ever been in any of the Fight to Win group chats, you've undoubtedly seen Seth flip out on someone for asking for a last minute match. And it's like, dude, you insecure hypocrite. These people are offering you last minute replacement matches for your dusty ass show. And for some reason you think this is an attack against you.
Ah! Ah! Jesus! You know, Seth, he who lives in a glass house shouldn't throw stones. Oh, yeah? Yeah! Oh, well, how about he who lives in a glass house with a machine gun turret on the roof?
Now, past the bad handling of Fight to Win, I think his promotion of steroids deserves some criticism. For me, it's really frustrating that steroids have become a mainstay in this sport, and I think statements like this do absolutely nothing to help the overall situation. You can have whatever opinions you want about personal steroid use or TRT. To me, those are two totally different avenues than being the promoter of an event, saying things like, I love steroids. To me, this puts off a direct message to the people competing in your event that they can do steroids, that they don't have to worry about you testing because you don't care. And more importantly, it puts off a message to the people that didn't want to do steroids that they may have to in order to compete. And personally, I don't want to compete in a world where steroids are a requirement. But I also feel like the steroid thing has been said over and over and over again, so I don't want to say more than that on the steroid thing, but I'd be curious to know your guys' opinion on it.
Presumably, this is a tested federation then. You're going to be making the sport clean, along with giving it some money.
Oh, yeah, I fully intend to test every athlete but myself. That's really fair.
Okay, let's talk about this.
I can probably finish here, but it's going to be kind of hard. I'm going to grab over her leg. Quit tapping. You're not dead yet. Now you can tap.
Oh shit, she went out. Hey. You okay?
Brittany just went to sleep while I was demonstrating because I thought she was tapping because she's a pussy. And, well...
This is horrible for so many reasons. One is just the blatant lack of respect. You have one of your own brown belt students who's an active competitor in both jiu-jitsu and MMA, so we're talking like at least 7-8 years experience, and you can't respect that she's going to tap when she needs to? On top of that is the optics. This is a BJJ Fanatics instructional, which boggles my mind knowing the amount of high-level black belts are out there without an instructional that anyone would approach Seth Daniels and say, hey, will you show a move for us? But past that, how many women saw this video and thought, oh, I don't want to do that martial art ever? Like, as if it's not already hard enough to get women into this sport. There's a foundation of trust we need to have in jiu-jitsu with our training partners. You know, I need to trust that when you put me in an arm bar and I tap, you're going to let me go and not break my arm. But when someone doesn't respect that, it shakes the foundation of that trust, not just for them, but for everybody. What makes it even worse to me is the way he reacts. And you're going to start to see this is a pretty typical theme for Seth, but he doesn't take responsibility for anything. He just laughs and calls her a pussy. Now, you might see her response to this and say, look, she doesn't mind. Well, my response to that would be, I don't care. As a student of his and as an employee of Fight to Win, she's kind of in a position where she has to say that. Her job could be at risk. Her social group around jiu-jitsu could be at risk. Now, I know, I've just described a gem of a human being, and you're probably thinking, when can I hire this man to babysit my kids? Well, Jassim had the same thought and immediately hired Seth Daniels to promote and organize the biggest tournament the world has ever seen. We're talking the Olympics of Jiu-Jitsu, ADCC.
The first time I heard about ADCC, 1998.
And all of a sudden I got a call. Would you like to try this new blues tournament, grappling tournament in Abu Dhabi?
And the sheikh pays some money if you win. See, I fight all my life for free. Why not?
Of course, Seth would accept, promptly cutting athlete funding to hire Bruce Buffer and buy some sick-ass bongos. Now, the day would kick off pretty strong, about 2 hours later than expected, followed by mistake-filled athlete introductions with more bongos and fire. Then the lights were turned on, making sure to shine them directly into the eyes of the crowd, and matches would finally begin. Long story short, the event didn't go well, and in typical Seth fashion, instead of taking responsibility and saying the things he did wrong, he blames everyone else. You know, maybe I'm crazy, but I'd think the people who spent thousands of dollars, took time off work, and traveled to your event would appreciate it starting on time. ADCC 2022 came and went pretty quickly, and if everything ended there, I wouldn't be making this video, and that brings me to ADCC 2024. So ADCC 2024 would come around, and after the disaster that was ADCC 2022, naturally, Mo would pick Seth to run the show again. Around the time we start seeing the ramp up in promotion for ADCC 2024, a lot of athletes start criticizing the athlete pay and suggesting that maybe we could trade the bongos for a little bit more athlete funding. Leading this criticism was Craig Jones. Pretty soon after, Seth would make a classic Seth Daniels Facebook post. Now, if you remember the other excuse he made earlier, he said he spent over $1 million on production. I'm not sure if he was lying before or he's now trying to rewrite history, but it starts getting pretty hard to believe any of these numbers. It's also pretty comical that he unironically mentions pay and exposure. And when he said, if you think you can do better, go raise $2 million just to pay for the T-Mobile Arena, not to mention all the other costs, and do it yourself, Craig Jones would take that personally.
But in a sport where there is no money, Enough money to eat would be fucking nice.
The Craig Jones Invitational. You're going head-to-head with the ADCC.
ADCC's existed for over 20 years, but no increase in grappler pay. I decided to put our own event on.
So we're trying to disrupt the industry to compensate the athletes well and to raise some money for charity along the way.
Craig Jones would then fly to Abu Dhabi to meet his undisclosed source and raise money for a tournament of his own, and we all know what they make them do for money in Abu Dhabi.
That's one of those things, you know, your girl takes a trip to the UAE, she comes back with a handbag, you don't talk about it, you don't have too many questions, you know.
He would raise enough money to put on his own tournament, and he would schedule it the same weekend as ADCC, forcing athletes to choose between pay and exposure or pay and money.
What's worth more, the prestige of a long-running tournament or money? And I think it's money.
The Craig Jones Invitational was born, and needless to say, athletes started switching over in droves.
Der Feind operiert jetzt am nördlichen Stadtrand zwischen Frohnau und Pankow und im Osten ist der Feind bis zur Linie Lichtenberg, Marsdorf, Karlshorst gelangt.
Mit dem Angriff Steiners wird das alles in Ordnung kommen.
Mein Führer, Steiner konnte nicht genügend Kräfte für einen Angriff massieren.
When it became obvious that the Craig Jones Invitational would be a direct threat to ADCC, Seth Daniels would take a stand, and that's when Craig Jones woke up to that early morning death threat. This inspires me. My real goal with this video is to get my own Seth Daniels death threat. Now, as Jiu-Jitsu's greatest comedian, Craig would unsurprisingly respond with this, and shortly after, in typical Seth fashion, he'd make his apology. Okay, if you're watching this, Seth, let me help you with your next apology. When you get the urge to start explaining yourself when you're apologizing, resist that urge and leave that stuff out. What your apology should consist of is an understanding of what you did wrong and acknowledging that, and that's it. Leave it at that. You'd be much better off than these long-winded explanations of why you did what you did wrong. To me, that just comes off like you're going to do the same thing again when those things come up again in your life. Now, if ADCC was strike 1, the death threat was strike 2, then the awful apology was strike 3, and Mo would finally fire Seth. Or at least according to Craig Jones, he would. Now, Mo's been in the background of this video, and I honestly don't think Mo's that bad of a guy. If anything, there's some evidence that he's a pretty good guy. Now, a lot of you may not know, but Mo also goes by Motor2K on Twitch. For anyone living under a rock, Twitch is a platform for people to stream video games for other people to watch, and the people watching can donate money. Now, this account became really well known in the CSGO community for donating large amounts of money to people streaming the game. And on one hand, this isn't a bad thing. It's your money, donate to whoever you want, right? The hurdle I'm struggling to get over is when you run an organization where you're having people physically fight each other for a grand prize and you've donated more money to people streaming a video game online, I think we need to take a step back and reassess how we're allocating funds and why. You know, Jiu-Jitsu isn't a spectator sport. Do we really need the biggest arena money can buy? Do we really need full-blown athlete entrances? Or can we downsize a little bit and maybe make it so people who spend their life training to win this tournament can maybe make a life for themselves afterward?
Four-time world champion in the gi, two-time in the no gi, an absolute world champion, and you were still driving and doing deliveries.
Even as a world champion, I still was driving around doing delivery.
And you can blame that on Seth, but as a leader, you're responsible for the people you hire. The team you put forward is a direct reflection on you. Now, it seems as though Craig's efforts are a success and athlete pay is going up as a direct result of this, as well as show money guaranteed to each athlete. There have been a few minor things happening since, like this fight at ADCC. This person happened to be a member of B Team and got slapped with a lifetime ban from ADCC for this. Now, I will say, watching this video, I think the ban is deserved, but these spiteful comments from Mo aren't the best look. At the end of the day, greedy or not, Mo is probably a net good for the sport. If we're talking about fight promoters, there's probably far worse out there than Mo Jassim. I just think he's in a very powerful position and he can do more. And if Mo Jassim, Craig Jones, or Seth Daniels sees this video and you want to clear some things up, feel free to message me on Instagram, email me, comment on the video. We can jump in a Discord video call. I'll post the whole thing unedited. But I don't want to harp on this anymore. I'm sick of going through drama. Let me know your opinions down below. Like, subscribe, share the video on Reddit, Facebook, anywhere you can share it helps a lot. I'm going to get back to making this Bernardo Faria video that I've been chipping away at for the last 6 months, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.